Building a robust enterprise architecture adoption framework for local authorities requires an exact, structural approach to complex human data. The philosophical bedrock of this research is interpretivism. In an organizational setting, reality is shaped by experience, role, and the specific frictions of daily operation. This isometric model illustrates how the concept of enterprise architecture fragments depending on perspective. ICT departments view it through system integration. Management interprets it as governance and strategy. Operations assess it by its impact on workflow. Capturing this fractured organizational reality requires a methodology that can synthesize these diverse perspectives into a usable administrative tool. The solution is a sequential four-phase architectural pipeline consisting of empirical exploration, theoretical development, expert validation, and target user usability. This sequence operates as a mechanism designed to extract multi-layered human experiences and process them into a standardized framework. Phase 1 establishes the foundation through targeted empirical exploration across specific case studies. Maximum variation sampling captures deliberate extremes in size, resources, and digital maturity across 5 distinct local authorities. Look at these 5 modules. Within each case, data is extracted from 3 roles: ICT, strategy, and operations, then cross-referenced against strategic documents. This raw data passes through thematic analysis, clustering into distinct themes. The threshold for data saturation here relies on the sufficiency of meaning and the repetition of patterns, rather than raw interview counts. Phase 1 ensures the resulting framework is deeply anchored in operational reality, utilizing practical, ground-level data to drive the entire design. Phase 2 translates those raw themes into a functional architecture. This grid categorizes subjective themes by function, sorting data points into structural buckets for dimensions, readiness, roles, and phases. These categorized components are then mapped against established academic models, specifically the technology, organization, and environment framework, alongside institutional theory. Cross-case analysis within this phase isolates core mandatory components from the optional variables that depend on a local authority's specific context. This phase strips away the chaos of raw qualitative transcripts and outputs a structured, theoretically sound draft framework, ready for stress testing. The draft framework is complete but untested. Phase 3 activates the Delphi method to serve as the validation engine. The panel requires 8 to 12 specialists, each holding strict experiential credentials in digital governance and enterprise architecture. We apply a critical boundary to this test. The Delphi method evaluates the content and structure of the framework, rather than its long-term empirical effectiveness. This dashboard tracks the semi-quantitative metrics used to measure consensus and minimize bias. First, the median score for any framework item must equal or exceed 4 on a 5-point scale. Second, the interquartile range must be less than or equal to 1, ensuring tight agreement. Finally, at least 75% of the panel must issue a score of 4 or 5. Any component failing these tests is rejected. Enforcing these mathematical thresholds on qualitative themes provides a check against bias and ensures structural integrity. A structurally valid framework is only useful if the target demographic can understand and use it. Phase 4 evaluates usability. We bypass the standard system usability scale, as it is designed for software interfaces rather than conceptual architectures. Instead, we deploy a bespoke framework usability evaluation form, assessed by 12 to 15 target users from local authorities. To prevent validation contamination, the users in Phase 4 are kept separate from the Delphi experts in Phase 3. This radar chart maps the evaluation. To generate usability data, users apply the framework against a simulated organizational scenario, evaluating its clarity, relevance, and actionability. The generated data translates specific areas of user confusion into descriptive thematic improvements, driving the final amendments to the framework. Phase 4 acts as the final check, ensuring the framework remains functional when applied to real-world administrative tasks. The 4-phase methodological pipeline is now complete. This alignment matrix reveals absolute traceability. 4 continuous lines connect initial questions to final deliverables. Phase 1 provides framework dimensions. Phase 2 synthesizes the draft. Phase 3 confirms structural validity, and Phase 4 confirms practical utility. This incredible level of methodological rigor successfully anchors subjective organizational experience into a stable, highly functional architectural blueprint for the future. By processing interpretivist data through a 4-phase pragmatic pipeline, the resulting framework is methodologically vetted and ready for operational deployment.